Welcome to the Northeast Asia online webinar series. My name is Hannah Choi. I'm South Korea Market Manager of AVPN. For those who are not familiar, AVPN is a network of funders and research providers. We have over 600 members across 32 markets, and our mission is to move more capital towards impact in Asia through social investments. In Northeast Asia markets, there have been a lot of innovations toward tackling increasingly complex urban social and environmental challenges. The complexity and the similarity of issues faced by Northeast Asia markets call for a greater collaboration and exchange of learning and insights on innovative tools and approaches to maximize the impact. This is why we have started this Northeast Asia webinar series. So this webinar is the second part of the series and hosted by South Korean team. The agenda is New Wave of Corporate Social Impact, ESG Strategy of Northeast Asia. This webinar will highlight how large corporates and foundations have switched the traditional way of fulfilling corporate social responsibility to engaging diverse stakeholders to achieve their long-term ESG strategy. The webinar will highlight the companies in the region of South Korea, Taiwan, and Japan with the executive speakers of corporations and foundations. So the webinar will be divided to 3 parts. First of all, Chungtae and Joyce here, they will give us an insight sharing session about the trend of ESG and corporate responsibility to give us an idea of where we are now. And next, we'll have the leaders of foundation and private corporation, Hyundai Motor Chungwon-gu Foundation, Fujitsu Limited, Easy Car Corporation, and SK Innovation. They will share their very own ESG strategy and how they have been executing it with a story of their success and challenges as well. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to our speakers first. Could you mute the other TV, please? So today for the insight sharing session, we have Chungtae, CEO of Mary Ear Social Company from South Korea. Please say hi to everyone, Chungtae. Thank you. And next we have Joyce Wong, Grant Manager of Porticus Asia from Hong Kong. Hi Joyce, thank you so much for joining. And next, for the case sharing session, we have 4 amazing executives from Korea, Taiwan, and Japan. Please welcome Jae-ho Choi, Secretary General of Hyundai Chungwon-gu Foundation from South Korea. Hi John, thanks for coming again. And we have Tim Ju Chun, Chair of Easy Car Corporation. She'll be joining very shortly. And we have Han Sung Choi, Professional Leader ESG Strategy Office, SK Innovation from South Korea. Hello, thank you for joining. And last of all, we have Takafumi Ikuta, from Head of Social Value Office, Sustainability Unit, Fujitsu Limited from Japan. Hello, thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, now I would like to move my mic to Chungtae Kim. So first session of this webinar is insight sharing. The agenda is exploring the why, how, and what of ESG or corporate social impact. Please welcome Chungtae to the stage.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for inviting me and thank you for giving me this opportunity. My name is Chungtae Kim once again, CEO of Mary Ear Social Company. We are also serving as a Korea representative of AVPN in Korean market. So maybe next slide, please. I'll be talking about ESG in a strategic viewpoint from corporate, mostly based on my personal experiences and also based on some of the Korean best practices. So what is MISC? First of all, we are a social innovation consultancy and impact investor founded in 2011. We are also part of B Corp movement, one of the B Corps in Asia. And our asset under management is around $46 million US, and we invest in up to 115 startups And mostly their business models are aiming at both financial returns and social and environmental impact. Next. And let me start with one of our portfolios called Trashy Busters. This is named after the famous movie, as you know, Ghostbusters. And they are now revolutionizing the single-use plastic cups culture in Korea. And Korea is so famous to be known as Republic of Coffee. We have so many coffee shops, and they are over 90,000, and there are more than convenience stores, which are about 50,000. So it's called Republic of Coffee. And through their circular multi-use cup services, Trashy Busters, this small startup, directly contributed to reducing over 13 million single-use items, 13 million single-use items up to now. The initial valuation, by the time we invested, was just 420,000 US dollars, so small, but in less than 2 years, and through a couple of investment, their valuation nears 23 million US dollars. And recently, Samsung joined this startup by becoming one of the largest clients wishing to wipe out all the single-use paper and plastic cups in and out their factories and offices. So my question is, why is that Samsung wants Trash Busters? How can you interpret this collaboration? Is it considered more of a social contribution or CSR, or is it related to ESG? Keep these questions in your mind, and we'll get back to here at the end of my presentation. Next. So I think you would be familiar with this concept. I will borrow this concept from Simon Sinek, a famous author, the golden circle: why, how, and what. I think this is very useful to analyze how any concept, how a new concept becomes a norm, and how various concepts are related, because there are so many related keywords with regards to ESG. So let me use this frame. So let's start with why. Next. I have been in this field since 2011, and thankfully have been able to observe how this field has evolved. And one outstanding shift is the rise of corporate social impact beyond corporate social responsibility. I would say the word ESG appeals much to people from capital market or measurement and rating industry. More public and market-friendlier equivalence is corporate social impact, I think. They are focusing more on the outputs and outcomes through ESG, compliance, and management. So you understand what I mean by saying corporate social impact here. ESG stands from capital market, and this keyword is said to be appear first in Who Cares Wins, the publication made in 2004 by International Finance Corporation, IFC, or World Bank Group. And this report made it clear that managing well major social and environmental issues, once considered externalities, is a key to sustainable and profitable business license. Investors quickly began seeking more non-financial information on ESG, which was long overlooked or sidelined, to pre-screen potential risks and discover ESG opportunities. So capital markets also values ESG scores now to help predict the up and down of a corporate's future performance. This is purely investor and capital market explanation, which we understand, but we need more than this perspective. Next. In 2015, I was invited to a very interesting workshop. This is a 3-day workshop organized by some of the organizers, including INSEAD at Singapore. And the fee was surprisingly 10,000 US dollars per person, excluding round trip airfares and accommodation, so expensive, but I was exempted, thankfully, that expensive fee. Directors or vice presidents of those leading multinational companies shown here, they showed up, and all of us were quickly into the main topic, that was corporate social impact. My takeaway out of the workshop was more than 10,000 US dollars, I think. What was it? Much of the dialogue revolved around corporate social venturing, and much of the time, participants used the term social enterprise. This confused me a lot, as to me at that time, social enterprise is something not scalable I thought, not much commercially viable, I thought, even though they may be good at creating jobs and servicing to marginalized people. What's the point of their frequent use of the term social enterprise there? All my confusion was cleared out when one speaker explained why and how corporations explored new market and sought after innovation. Their social enterprises was not necessarily an entity like not-for-profit SMEs, small and medium enterprises. They are rather an act of innovation, so-called corporate social venturing. Next. So why social venturing, not just venturing? It is because it's a social and environmental, because to avoid competition dominant market, which is called red ocean, and to perpetuate innovation, corporates should go to non-market and non-customers. I think you're familiar with the concept. Everything outside current market relates to social and environmental issues, and this is the blue ocean, where non-market is changed to new markets, those non-customers to new customers. Think about why corporate social impact again. It's because corporates need innovation. This time with the era of ESG requires a new kind of innovation in line with society and environment. Next. Having said that, let's move on to the how parts, the how of corporate social impact. Corporate social impact takes forms of various approaches ranging from collective impact, open innovation, and to impact investing. I think you frequently use these sort of some of the keywords, and let me explain how they are mutually related, especially with regards to corporate social impact or ESG. Next. First of all, collective impact. We need collective power as the problems we are facing are also collective. Often social and environmental problems are called wicked problems, as you know, meaning that we should consider the deep root causes of those problems, not scratching the surface. Deep root causes are addressable only when we approach this with a systemic and long-term based collective solution. As one company alone is unable to do so, corporate join forces with one another to create collective impact. Next. One example would be Shinhan Financial Group, which is one of the leading banks in Korea. And their project is to tackle local issues faced by the Jeju Island, a fantastic travel destination visited by over 10 million people annually around the world. And there are lots of environmental and social issues like ocean waste issues, discarded agricultural byproduct, and shrinking local economy. And they are now approaching those issues with well-designed collective impact teams like that. Next. Second, open innovation. Hallie Chesborough, who coined this term open innovation, argued that corporations should become a venture capitalist of itself, in that innovative ideas are not necessarily discovered inside the established corporations. Like venture capitalists, corporates could look out for outside ideas that are unproven but have potentials to scale up. For this open innovation, it is becoming more common for companies to adopt partnering with social enterprises. In fact, social enterprises serve as a leading indicator that explores non-market that could be monetized afterwards. As you see in the map, multinational companies move along with them, with social enterprises, and win together. Next. Lastly, impact investing. When it comes to investment, one change stands out these days, that is the rapid rise of corporate venture capital, CVC. As you can see here, CVC or investment coming from corporates now account for above 30% of all the investment these days. They are not a financial investor seeking for maximum returns, yet why they jump into investment fields as a strategic partner? I think impact investing through corporate venture capital could connect them to social enterprises or impact businesses. Interestingly, in many cases, open innovation programs either end up with impact investing or start with impact investing. Next. And these are some of the examples. Yuan Kimberly, a joint company between Kimberly-Clark and Yuan Corporation. And Yuan Kimberly is Korea's leading consumer goods manufacturer. MISC is now operating a $1.7 million green impact investment fund with Yuan Kimberly's anchor funding. And this fund focuses not only startups in Korea, but also climate tech startups in Southeast Asia. This is true of Amore Pacific, Korea's leading beauty and cosmetic brand. A More Beautiful Challenge Fund is another $2.7 million impact investment fund created last year that runs in parallel with their annual Open Innovation Program. MISC serves as general partner to this fund as well. Common here is that impact investing is employed as a strategic approach. Next. Coming to my last part, I'd like to briefly highlight what then corporate benefit from social impact. If I pick up just one keyword, it is intangible asset contributing to market capitalization or market cap. A recent study showed that over 90% of market cap in S&P 500 companies are accounted for by intangible asset. This is so surprising, and this is a dramatic change from that of just around 70% in 1970s. Next. In 2017, I was invited to speak on social impact to CEOs of SK Group, including SK Telecom, SK Hynix, SK Innovation, along with SK Group chairperson Tae-won Choi. And that was around the time when SK was about to embrace social value as new essential part of their management strategy. Time went by, and in a year, I was again with the same group and others. After dinner and some wine, one CEO asked to SK chairperson, what if they lost, for example, more than $30 million a year, for example, in pursuit of social value over economic value? I was so surprised. I noticed everyone suddenly concentrated, and the chairperson said, it's okay to see such a loss temporarily because social value-based management takes time before returns. From a longer-term perspective, he said, social value contributes to robust revenues. And on top of it, social value would drive up SK's market cap. He also told us that SK was underestimated below its market value. Next. Long story short, corporate social impact is not just something good to do. Rather, we can say it is adding values to market cap in the end, which is fundamental, I think. You see two rankings on your left, CSR rankings on your right, ESG score rankings. The two may be highly related. However, to expect whether certain corporate remains sustainable, risk-adjusted, and inclusive of diverse stakeholders, it all comes down to checking ESG or corporate social impact, the one on your right side. Next. Let's go back to Trash Busters and Samsung Electronics. Why Samsung partners with this small startup, Trash Busters? Now, we all may agree that it boils down to corporate social impact because that could contribute back to market capitalization. Customers are not just satisfied with a brand's lower price or being better than their competitors. They want corporates to be differentiated and stand out. They are rather increasingly interested in a corporate's purpose and vision. Investors and capital market also are not just looking at expected financial gains of the time. They demand to know how corporate cares what matters: financial sustainability, environmental and social leadership, transparency, as well as accountability all together. It remains to be seen which corporate and how much corporate win. There's no silver bullet, but I think we all agree for now, without corporate social impact, corporate sustainability is not feasible at all. Next. So this is end of my presentation. And I think if you have a chance to come over to Seoul, I think there are many experiences that might surprise you. So I hope to see you, some of you, and I hope to see some of you come visit us. Thank you. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you so much, Jungtae. It was very nice to go through why, how, and why of this ESG trend. Especially it was great to know those unique approaches such as collective impact, open innovation, and impact investment. I expect to hear more about those later on when case sharing session. Okay, next up, we have Joyce from Portuguese Asia. She's gonna go through the shared perspective of philanthropic working towards corporate accountability in Northeast Asia, and also an important of multi-stakeholder approach. Please welcome Joyce to the stage.
Hello, I'm still trying to switch on my audio, my video. Yes, now you can see me. Hi, thank you, Hannah, for the kind introduction. I'm Joyce Wong, working for Portuguese Asia, and I'm based in Hong Kong. So I think to start this presentation, it might be good to give you more ideas about Portuguese, and it will explain the perspective I'm bringing to the table. Next, please. So Portuguese is a philanthropic organization focused on creating a just and sustainable future where human dignity flourishes. So essentially what we do is to give financial support or grants to a nonprofit organization to do good work across the globe. So for Portuguese, we have 6 regional offices and a regional office in Hong Kong, manage partnership across Asia. And for the scope of work we do, we know that we cannot solve all the challenges we face. So we focus on what we know best. So we work on education, climate, faith, society. Because we work in climate, so we have a portfolio of work called Purposeful Business, which essentially is support corporate accountability in people and planet. But I will also leave this question to you, just like John said, how a philanthropy supporting nonprofit organization could support corporate accountability. I will share more about our strategy and our work at the end. But before I do that, next, please. I just want to take a step back for all of us to ponder on why we are doing what we are doing. So I guess the ESG journey is not easy for a lot of businesses, but what we have to know is that businesses operate within the Earth natural system. But however, the business operations are surpassing a lot of ecological threshold. As you can see in a donut of social and planetary boundaries, we are exceeding 4 out of 9. So the current business models and operations are not sustainable. And essentially it's not about business existence, but human existence. So the problem that we are facing, and or maybe framed as John Tay mentioned, wicked problem. So we cannot solve it alone. That's why I want to bring on the table multi-stakeholder approach is important. One of our partners, Global Commons Alliance, presented their framework at the World Economic Forum last month. So you can check out the Safe and Just Earth System Boundaries if you're interested to learn more about this planetary boundaries and how impact will affect the nature more through the presentation. Next, please. So for this record problem, John Tay mentioned that one business cannot solve the problem, so business have to collaborate. But actually, when as a philanthropy, when we think of it, it's actually wider than that. So we cannot put the blame on one individual set of actors, for example, business, but it's actually a system failure among different actors like governments, society, and businesses. So without progressive regulation and policy, it's hard for business to do more aggressively because the cost is so high. And for civic society, they usually want to put business into a high bar, but they may lack resources to do so. So when we think about stakeholder approach, we also can think about in a wider approach on how government, society, and business could work together to solve this wicked problem. Next, please. So another challenge that we have is the corporate sustainability system when we look at it. So you may see that this loop may look a little bit complex, but essentially is what a lot of you are already doing. For those companies who are on the ESG journey, when you look at this loop on the left-hand side, you can see, first of all, you have to articulate a strategy, the first step, set goals and target for your company, measure baseline and, and then deliver, track your progress, disclose and report. And on the right side of the loop would be on the external audit or data collection, evaluation, assessment, for etc. So when you look at this loop, as a lot of you is on your ESG journey, you will see that a lot of incoherent in this loop. So I'm sure you face a lot of challenges when you go through this journey. I think even the first step of making a strategy, because there are a lot of reporting standards, or how you gear your strategy towards is a challenge. So some part is weaker than the other, are quite essential for companies to make it successful. So when podcasters think about strategy, we keep this system challenge in mind. Next, please. So this is the question on how podcasts as a philanthropy supporting nonprofit organization to support this journey for corporate accountability. So for our change goal is quite ambitious. We want to build a future where business success is only possible with the following preconditions. First is that business decision will embed the value of people and planet. And then the actions will create positive impact in eliminating negative externalities or impacts. It is quite ambitious, but essentially we think that is the only way we can keep our action or business model within the planetary boundaries. So we want to set ambitious goal and gear towards different stakeholders to work together in this. As if we want to reshape the business success or the business model, it's important to have pathways to support business to get there. So for change goals objective, there are two essential things that we would want to achieve. First is to create an environment that de-risks ambition and innovation for business leaders so that they could go faster and further. This is a carrot approach, build the infrastructure for them to easier to do it and do better. And then the other approach is to build an accountability system that compels laggards to act. So for those companies who are failing to meet standards, they have to, there should be pressure on them to change their behavior. So essentially it's a carrot and stick approach that we were trying to look at. And so for focus of work for achieving our objective, we have three major focus of work. First is policy and regulations. Second, better resources and data. And finally is engagement and pressure. And we see that these three focuses are interconnected, so we don't look at them individually. So let me share some example of our partnerships and work and how we do this focus of work. For policy and regulations, we are pushing for some policies and regulations that reduce the cost of innovation and also penalize inaction. So one example I could share is our partnership with Business for Nature. Business for Nature established about 2-3 years ago with our seeding funding. So what they have been doing is to engage progressive company across the globe, also in Asia, to push or advocate for more progressive policy on biodiversity and nature. So in the recent COP15 conference in Montreal, they pushed for more aggressive framework on biodiversity. So the Article 15 of that of the biodiversity framework, actually that 196 countries agreed to require that all of the businesses, all the large businesses and financial institutions within their jurisdiction to assess and disclose their risks, impacts and dependency on nature by 2030. So 196 countries are already asking companies and investors to plan for disclosure on nature, because this is important. So this is one of the NGO, nonprofit organization that we support to push for policy change. So this is an example of the first focus of work. For better resources and data, we understand that information and data is the lifeblood of corporate accountability system. Without data, you cannot track your progress and where you want to go. So in this, I could quote two examples that we have been doing. For better resources, in the past few years in our global program, we have been supporting the merging of different corporate reporting standards. So previously, you have 5 major ones, including SASB, CDP, different standards. And company was like, I don't know which one to take. And a different investor may look at different set of reporting standards. So with our funding support together with other foundations, we support the merging of these reporting standards. So now we have one harmonized ISSB standard, International Sustainability Standard Boards, which a lot of you might have known of, that established at the end of 2021. So hopefully with this more harmonized reporting standard, it's easier for company to report and track their progress. So this is one example. And to bring it more in a regional level, so we support a nonprofit organization in China. It's called Institute of Public and Environmental Affairs. So what they have been doing is to track a lot of sustainability performance, for example, air pollution, water pollution, and carbon emission of different factories across China. So they have a lot of this data, and what they are trying to do and how our funding is support them to do is to refine a global business accountability map. For this map, they're trying to map, for example, they have 1,000 companies on the database, different brands. And then they will track, for example, one specific brand have 200 factories in China. So how these suppliers are doing in terms of their scope 3 emission, water pollution, etc. So now the brands would have data to track their scope 3 performance, which is one of the pain point of a lot of companies that we have heard of. So this is one of the contribution we are trying to contribute to have data transparency. So companies could easily track some of the performance in their far away supply chain. And finally is engagement and pressure. So as Jean-Tae also mentioned, multi-stakeholder approaches or collaboration is very important. So we also would put effort to engage different stakeholders together to think of solutions together, and or maybe specific profession, for example, lawyers. Lawyers can make a lot of changes in terms of policy and regulation, and also suggestion for companies. So one of the partnership we have is with Global Alliance of Impact Lawyers. So essentially, they are a group of lawyers that care about planet and people. So they'll have continuous learning and case study sharing with each other so that they could together do better. So essentially, this is how Particus has been trying to contribute to this movement of corporate accountability. And our program in Asia is quite new. So essentially, we also open up the floor to open for further discussion as well. If you're interested to learn more about our program and also your thoughts on how Particus as a philanthropy could better support the ecosystem, we are happy to hear. So this is, thank you, Hannah. So this is my contact information, and you can reach out to me for more information. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joyce. It was really great to know why the multi-stakeholder collaboration is very important in that. Also, your approach to see the problem with the macro view, which was a system, was very helpful to see the corporate responsibility agenda in a very different view. Also, I'm really happy to see the Particus Purposeful Business Program case on the presentation, because it was also with the system approach. For example, the policy and the regulation approach. It was very interesting to know how MISC and the Particus has a different focus area. Thank you so much again. Now we're going to move on to the next session, which is case sharing. If you guys have any question for Joyce, please write in the chat box so we can cooperate later on. Now we're going to introduce, now this part, our executive from leading companies and foundations from Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. They're going to share their ESG strategy and success and the challenges. So first up, please welcome Jae-ho Choi from Hyundai Motor Jongmong-gu Foundation from South Korea. Jae-ho, please come up to the stage.
Good afternoon. My name is John Choi. I'm working for Hyundai Motor Jongmong-gu Foundation as Secretary General. Thank you for having me today. Today, I'd like to talk about ESG of NPO or non-government organization. So can I start now? So the global crisis over the past few years has a previous page, please. has accelerated the change of how companies consider their role in society. Milton Friedman's popular theory that the social responsibility of business is to increase its profits is not anymore popular. The days of shareholder capitalism and merely giving back to the community are over. Instead, making a positive social impact will lead to more loyal customers, more engaged employees, more capable suppliers and partners, and a more supportive local community and more satisfied long-term investors. Business has the power and responsibility to move society forward, but the societal challenges facing humanity isn't easy to solve companies alone. The time is approaching when companies, foundations, and nonprofit organizations must work closely together. So today, I'm going to talk about the ESG of a foundation. Next. 정몽구 Foundation aims to create a more sustainable world through investment for the next generation. We find that the next generation with the potential have a positive impact on our society, and we transform them into more inclusive leaders. To realize our philosophy, we have developed 3 platforms since 2021. Our 3 platforms are talent platform, space platform, and knowledge platform. Through in-depth research, we review whether our social investment can have a real impact on our society. And we also measure and evaluate the impact based on data. Next. I think that the important thing to spread ESG is to foster talented people who solve social problems through ESG. So today, I will introduce the talent platform of foundation. 현대모터 정몽구 Scholarship aims to foster an inclusive leader who will lead the future of Korea and Asia. For 5 years, from 2021 to 2025, we will foster 1,100 talents in 6 fields, such as future industry field, global field, and international cooperation field, and social innovation field, and art and culture field, and social integration field. And we are investing $10 million in the talent platform every year. Next. And we also have ESG College. ESG College is our sub-program which supports college students to understand a general idea and recent trend on ESG. 32 undergraduate students who participated in this program last year from July to August. Every Friday, we provided them weekly lectures and discussions and team project on ESG. It was very helpful for them to understand what is ESG, and they also are able to practice ESG project with this project. And also they expanded their horizon about ESG concept and strategy with ESG experts. So we will continue this kind of program to expand the ESG paradigm to Korean society. Next. Finally, I'd like to explain why ESG is important for nonprofit organization and what's our opportunities and challenges. If you look at the, this is not, anyway. Yeah, if we look at the opportunity side, I changed this page, but it was not updated. I'm afraid that. So then I'll just speak in, yeah. First, our opportunities, ESG impact measurement makes possible data-based decision-making. So it will be very helpful to decide whether or not we will continue this project or we will start this project with ESG data. Second, it can help communicate our achievements to donors and stakeholders with ESG data. Third, ESG impact analysis gives more chance for employee engagement, especially millennials and Generation Y. Fourth, ESG measurement and management will strengthen the foundation's capability. If we are able to analyze and if we are able to collect the data from what I'm doing, then it would be very helpful for our employees to understand what they are doing with our resources. Next, if you look at the challenge side, first, many foundations still don't have enough support from the board's leadership and interest in ESG strategies. Second, the nonprofit organizations still lack data for ESG analysis and do not know where to go. Third, there are no ESG point person or committees. So we don't have enough people who are able to control ESG data, who are able to collect ESG data from our CSR project. Fourth, we are still unfamiliar with ESG reporting and standards or frameworks. So we need to learn about what is ESG as foundation member. So I think nonprofit organizations should think ESG as an opportunity to help develop its own strategies through ESG measurement and management. If we are able to do that properly, then I believe that we are able to create greater social impact than before with our limited resources. Okay, that's all for today's presentation. I conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jae-ho, and I'm very sorry about the presentation. Hyundai Motor Jeongmun-gu Foundation is one of the main supporters for Korean social venture ecosystem for a very long time. They have backed many change makers, and now not only supporting that, but also putting a lot of effort on the measurement is very motivating us to improve this ESG movement for the better fruitful result as well. Thank you so much for your presentation again. And now I would love to have Ting-Ju Chun from Taiwan Easy Corporation, a chair of Easy Card Corporation. Please welcome Ting-Ju Chun to the stage.
Okay. I'm still confirming if I can be heard and seen.
Yes, I think you're good to go.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's Ting Chen from Taiwan. We're EasyCar, the chairman of the EasyCar Corporation. EasyCar is a transportation card payment company that was established about 20 years ago. Okay, and then so rather than about the ESG strategy investment side of perspective, I would like to share a small project that we've been doing since last year with you. Okay, and the sorry, this is not my fault. So Hannah, can we move to the next page? Okay, so today the project that we're doing is we are trying to turn the transit payment into an easy carbon emission reduction life. And why we say that, next page. Yes, okay, so in the past few years, EasyCar Corporation have been operating to service transportation. So encouraging everybody to take public transportation, cashless convenience, fare saving, green transit. It's the normal catchwords or key benefits that we try to offer to the market. So as we've been doing some digital transformation in the last few years, and we're facing more communication with our customer, and suddenly we are a bit speechless because in the past, we're still focusing on the function and the convenience of our products, rather than really communicating with them what we believe in. So we found that there's very little echoes that we can bring our customer into our social network and then create a common value together. So we've been thinking about the service that we've been doing in the last few years, what kind of value does it bring in? And as EasyCard Corporations was established as the first micropayment company in Taiwan, we had the advantage of owning more than 90% of market share in the transportation in Taiwan. So we are basically, our brand name is the equivalent words of transport payment in Taiwan. So we have 90% of the public transit transactions. So if we try to look into those data, we realize that we can analyze those data and find out the energy saving side of the value that we've been serving without communicating in the last few years. So we come up with some brainstorming and finding out that by using our product, we are actually making small contribution every day, and energy saving, carbon reduction, rather than top up our cars, now we are actually topping up the sustainability life in the future for Taiwan. So this small project is to transform the daily behavior, which every Taiwanese commuter has been doing for the last 20 years anyway, very painlessly, and then tell them how valuable their contribution is. And then rather than just taking public transit out of convenience or because of it's a necessity, is actually a conscious actions. Okay. Next. So it's very difficult to convey this concept. So seeing is believing. So since we, last year was our 20 years anniversary of card issuance, we're probably one of the oldest plastic card payment service company in the region. So this 20th year anniversary, we planning to do some activity trying to interact with the 20 million card users in Taiwan. So we pick up the theme saying that, okay, since we are initiating this project, how can we let our cardholder visualize their contribution? So we start calculating the transactions for the last 20 years. We found that we total issue about 100 million cards in the past 20 years. All the usage and transaction, when you actually convert it, we actually save 8.24 million tons of carbon emission together with Taiwan islands. And then we feel that it means something, and then without being properly communicated. And so we decided to make an exhibition that let the young, all the customers that you can actually visualize and feel it. So what we do is we're taking every card and calculated the past transaction. Everybody has a total contribution in the last, we cannot do last 20 years, so we do it in the last 1 year. And then every person also in the card, they have their transaction records using cashless payments, which is also a kind of energy saving. So we decided to use an algorithm and make a very unique personalized digital flower based on the symbol of the places that where you're doing your consumption or the vehicle that you've been taking. So you can form your personalized, unique digital flower. Only you have it, because everybody's transaction in your cards is completely different. So in order to make it easier to understand, I attached small videos and of this exhibition. So hopefully it's easier for you to understand what I was saying. Yeah, Hannah, please. I think next page we have the small video. Yeah.
Sorry, I think you're having issue with playing video. If it's okay, if you could explain about the
Sure.
video instead.
Okay.
Sorry about
so, okay. So we have a digital commentaries and that's interactive that we place in one of the biggest subway station in the sort of the central part of Taipei. So this shows the total carbon emission reduction that we achieved together in the last 20 years. So every passenger or commuter, when you pass by this interactive device, you only have to tap your cards. Then you can see your contribution last month or last year's. And then your contribution over carbon emission reduction will grow into a balloon and contribute to this big tree. And then of course you can imagine this trigger a lot of small kids and children and keep playing it, and then trying to find out all the cards in the family and try to see how many kilograms each card has contributed. So on the side, a smaller screen that you can see is the digital flower I was mentioning. So since the Easy Card can be used in transportation sector as well as retail sectors, if you use it very frequently in different convenience stores, every location that you use has a symbol and color. So we use algorithm. Everybody's flower is very different. And then depends on where you use your card, you'll be categorized into different segments. And then those flowers are very interesting. So we also trigger a lot of teenagers coming with their friend and tap their card and to try to find out their payment behavior, digital payment behaviors transformation into a digital symbol. So this is we start with the anniversary theme event to try to raise conscious. And next page. So to make it more fun, we also create a game in our wallet, because we in the last 2-3 years we've been trying to convert our cardholder to download our app, so we have an interface to communicate with them better. So in this app we have a 1 to 2 months game. It's like an online monopolies. The way that you can play it is how many grams of the carbon emission you save on the daily basis. So every day, if you take public transport, so you do have carbon emission reduction saving contribution, then you can roll the die and then keep going and receive cash coupons for your next ride or for your next consumption. And then of course, rather than telling them how important it is or how carbon emission reduction is important to saving the earth, by playing the game, I think we attract a lot of young users to be more conscious about this conversion. And then people in the community, social community actually start discussing how we calculate it, and they want to know how this is converting, and then how they can accumulate more kilograms of savings so they can play more games. Okay, next page. And so we take it a step further. We decided to make it a permanent functions. So if today, if you're in Taiwan and you download Easy Wallet, which is a digital product of Easy Card, and link your card into a wallet, every month you can see how many kilograms of carbon emission saving that you have. We also make a conversion table. This, for example, 40.7 kilograms will be equivalent to how many steaks, or how many straw, or how many plastic cups that you actually save, to make it more interesting for people to follow. And then it's also, we also keep your data, so you can also tap into it and then analyze how this 40 kilograms, where those 40 kilograms coming from which vehicle? Is it from subway, buses, or even U-bike? Or if you take railways? Okay, so from a consistent trend that we start collecting people's routine behavior, and then make people make more customer more conscious about the public transit, their public transit routines that they are contributing on a daily basis. And then it receive a lot of response, and then people come to our app. Maybe it's the main purpose is use it for digital payment, but on the other side, they found that rather rewarding, more rewarding functions that we keep using it, rather than we keep pushing cash coupons. So monthly, everybody will be setting a target, and then they will come up to see if they reached this target. And very interestingly, and we found that the regular Taipei city commuter, in general, even without any extra effort, you can save about 35 to 60 kilograms per month. Yeah, and then comparing to that, you are actually consuming maybe 10 kilograms of carbon emission if you eat a steak. This is sort of balancing, offsetting the guilt that you sort of costing the environment. So we are trying to make this a small country, trying to make our user to visualize that, hey, you're actually doing everything every day, and maybe it's about time to extend your contribution. So we receive quite some discussion in the forums. Okay, next. So this is our communication with the consumer. But of course, because personal carbon emission reduction in today's world is still stay in the personal levels, and then you cannot actually massively promoting it. So we decided to bring in more partners. And then we found that in Taiwan is the industry is based on manufacturing and exporting. So carbon footprint verification, it's becoming a very popular topic. So every listed company or manufacturing SMEs, they start they're scratching their hair for ESG reports, and then they're locking the resources or data to to make the contributions. And then I think according to the carbon footprint verification, one of the section is the business trip, and then staff commuting. As we own probably almost like 9 out of 10 Taiwan citizens have an easy card. It's very easy for corporate to implement a program and start collecting the data where they're saving if your staff is taking public transportation for your personal purpose or business trip purpose. So we started to look at this framework, and we talked to some partners, and they feel very interested in it, because even if they have the data, they don't know how to convert it into this calculation. And then since Easy Car Corporation has always been very close with transportation sectors, we have the industry know-how. So we basically have a standard calculation which will be eventually certified with BSI. So in the future, to make sure that this calculation and conversion is consistent. So next. So we talked to a few solution company. Next slide. So we talked to a few solution partner company, for example, like SAP, and then to talk about the possibility if in your ERP module that you're pushing to enterprise, that there's always a business trip expenses module. And then if you can create a small more functions that attach your easy car as a number, then we can track during your business trip period of time, the public transportation that you're taking. And then this is the carbon emission reduction that's related to this trip. So we are basically using this module, helping the corporate to track not only that you are encouraging your staff to take public transportation during business trip, then you have credible data if eventually you want to reward your staff. Okay, and we take it a step further. A lot of the big company, they do have a huge complex where they use shuttle to carry their customer or their staff on a daily basis. And then we are putting on a new project to install the readers on the shuttle bus, to also calculating that if you're taking shuttle bus rather than driving to the company, and then how many kilograms that you would say, extra kilogram you would say. And then we, of course, we rely on the corporate to put out some rewards, because every company has their own transportation subsidy programs. So they will include these calculations, and then maybe has a different programs to subsidize if you take public transport. Next slide. Okay, so this is a sample case that we do for our own company, because we actually trying to initiate an in-company competition between departments. Like how many kilograms, used to be, it was trendy a while ago that every company is having an in-house competition, like how many kilograms we lose our weight. And then we put it together as a fun game. So this internal game turning into the department, the carbon emission reduction targets for each department. And then we also can track our staff on their personal routine or their business routine, how many kilograms. So this is basically a sample dashboard that we're creating based on our company. So for example, one of the months, if we calculate the whole company, we only have about 290 staff in our company, but together in that month, we save 56,000 kilos. And then we can bring it down to departments and then to individual. And then this is a sample case that a lot of corporations are interested in because they want to do also their in-house competition or a game or in-house promotion. And of course, if you have a very big scale of the institute, your impact is bigger. Yeah, next. Okay. So next slide. So this is just an initiative because we only initiated this program last year. There's only so much we can do. But then we start promoting this data and then how this data means, because people who care about their carbon emission reduction or a particular customers, maybe they are also the target audience for green products, cosmetic green product. So we are also talking to some cosmetic product company if they want to include our public transit data of each customer, of course, under their consent, including in their loyalty programs. For example, the more public transport you take, the more carbon emissions that you save, help to reduce, then you will be reward you'll be rewarded in a different scheme. And then that is actually inconsistent with their corporate and product value as well. Some financial partners, they thought about it differently because a lot of companies, they start doing green mutual funds, okay? And then they are lacking a communication tool. And then as we own the data of this public transit commuter, it's also a mutual benefit to communicate the green financial product to this particular group. Okay, so we on the other side, we are using that as a new promotional campaign. And then for policy purpose, because we work closely with Ministry of Transportation or Transportation Commission of the municipal governments, they all keep they have the target to keep promoting the riderships. And then rather than giving cash coupons or use point systems, and then this carbon emission reduction become a new tool that it's easier to visualize and then easier to quantify. So we're working together with them. So a lot of company or retail brands are also doing brand campaign using our scheme. So I think it's a small initiative that we do last year. And we found out that we actually sitting on the gold mine. And then this public transportation data, rather than use it for commercial purpose, I think it's also a good communication tool that we can use with our commuter. And then eventually we can creating a network to reward rather than using cash or a product, but using this more intangible values, and then to communicate with the rider. So it's like being green with our customer every day, and it's probably going to be our brand themes for the next 20 years. Yeah. So this is a small sharing, and then of course we welcome any feedback because we found that among the regions, we are the only transit card company that's doing this kind of project. So we're very much welcoming everybody's feedback on we can do this better, or maybe there's other applications that we can do with more new partners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, team. I really like how people can actually see how they contribute, how much they contribute to reduce carbon emission. It's not only meaningful, but also it's really visually beautiful and very fun too. Thank you for sharing how you engage a lot of publics by creating ideas such as digital art and the game. I think it can be really helpful for different regions as well. Thank you so much again. And next, we have another one of the first mover of the ESG in Korea. Please welcome Hwan-Sung Choi, Professional Leader, ESG Strategy Office, SK Innovation from South Korea.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, thank you for thank you ABPN to invite me as a speaker and to be part of this meaningful event. I'm Han-Sung Cho of the ESG strategy at SK Innovation. There are 6 pages that I will present today because I have only 10 minutes to give you information, so I think I'll be talk very fast. So if you are not comfortable with that, so please let me know. Okay, I will introduce SK Innovations ESG strategy today, starting with the brief introduction of the of our company. Some of you from outside of Korea may have never heard of our name of SK before, or you may have heard of SK On, the company that produces batteries for electric vehicle. SK Innovation is the energy company of SK Group, the second largest conglomerate in Korea. SK Innovation is the global green energy and material company that started as the first oil refining and chemical company in Korea, and now expanding its portfolio to batteries and separators. SK Innovation has 8 subsidiaries, and SK On is one of them. Recently, the carbon business, which is the origin and the backbone of our company, is facing the challenges to fundamentally changes. This is a threat unlikely any other we have experienced in the past. However, we believe that it is not only a crisis, but also an opportunity to soar the next level. We have announced the carbon to green strategies and declare ESG management at SK Innovation Story Day in 2020. For environment, SK Innovation established a clear. Sorry, we are still in the page 2. Sorry. Is this page 2? Okay. For the environment, SK Innovation established a clear target on the carbon net zero and will fully committed to its realization. In the social categories, our target is to be a multicultural company which take care of the look after not only the safety, health, and the environment, but to respect the human rights and diversity of our employees. And we are also pursuing joint growth with our suppliers to create an ESG ecosystem. Governance is an area where most Korean companies receive lower scores when compared to global top-tier companies. SK Innovation is committed to adopting global practice. We changed the committee under the BOD to strengthen the BOD's role, and we will continue to enhance independence, expertise, and the diversity of our board. Starting with the declaration of ESG management, we are pursuing ESG 2.0 to implement ESG management and receive the consensus from the stakeholders. For ESG 2.0, we have defined the areas of focus and key tasks in ESG that reflect changes in our business environment and come up with an effective ESG implementation system that grows. As of 2023, we are implementing ESG management in action with our growth strategy, and we aim to internalize ESG management by 2025, which is defined as ESG 3.0. By internalizing ESG management, we mean that ESG to become a key to our decision making. which will lead to the maximization of a company's value. Then I will explain our current ESG 2.0 strategy and how we implement focusing on the growth strategy. Next, please. Okay, the growth strategy is our mid and long-term ESG roadmap that consists of 6 focus areas and 16 priority tasks. With our vision of innovate the world with sustainable growth. Each letters in the growth represents 6 focus area. G and R represents green innovation through the carbon to green innovation and road to net zero. O and W are outstanding SHE management and winning the trust to securing the driving force for sustainable growth. And T and H means the pursuing the happiness of stakeholders, which is the ultimate goal of ESG management. We aim to create, achieve together with society through the growth with the stakeholders and achieve happiness for all by promoting the happiness of employees. And the 16 priority tasks were identified for the implementation of the growth strategy. The 16 priority tasks were selected in consideration of stakeholders' demand and SK Innovation's business strategy. And they were chosen among the tasks that require mid to long-term approach rather than one-time task, and that the specific goal can be set and the performance can be measured. We are assigning a dedicated organization to implement each priority task and that clearly define their purpose and the responsibility so they can get directly involved in establishing midterm goals and indicators. In addition, we are working on the short-term execution capabilities by aligning the priority task with the KPI of the organization in charge. I'd like to explain all the 16 tasks, but due to the time constraint today, I would like to talk about the Green Startup Partnership, which in task scope together with the society in detail. Because of strengthening the green partnership is not simply a task to nurture the startups, but the task born out of concern for resolving environmental issues. In order to solve environment problems, SK Innovation believes that it is essential for private enterprise to take active role as well as making effort to governmental level. SK Innovation will promote green innovation to improve its own environmental impact and at the same time support the transition to low carbon, eco-friendly society by supporting the expansion of startups with solution to environment problems. Under this vision, we launched the corporate project EGG, which is we call SK Innovation Green Venture Scale-up Program, organized by Ministry of SMEs and Startup in 2021. EGG is the first green alliance project in Korea, where the government agency, conglomerates, and impact funds collaborate to discover the support startup in the environment business. SK Innovation provide various programs, including ESG education and professional coaching in investment relation to attract investment and the open innovation-based business collaboration. In addition, we actively support the startups by increasing external expose and introduce them to venture capital through the external events. Okay, next page, please. Let me tell you about the cases of open innovations based collaboration between SK Innovation and the startup fostered by SK Innovation. First one is 60 Hz, which has a virtual power plant operation software technology based on solar and wind power prediction technology. And SK Energy, which operate more than 4,000 gas station infrastructure, create an energy substation. When converting SK Energy's existing gas station into an energy superstation, 60 Hz virtual power plant technology was applied, and the renewable energy generated was possible through the installation of distributed power source. Next, through the open innovation between CNLE, which is technology for recycling waste tires and the manufacturing pyrolysis oil, and SK IPC, which is petrochemical company, has oil refinery waste tires are converted into pyrolysis oil and put into the oil refining process to produce eco-friendly petroleum product. As a result, we can contribute resource circulation by recycling waste tires. In both cases, collaboration between the two companies not only create new business and increasing the economic value, but also contribute to increasing social value in terms of green innovations and together with the societies. Okay, next page, please. From discovering and nurturing environmental startup, neither startups nor larger corporations can solve various difficulties alone. Therefore, SK Innovation is working with the various stakeholders to overcome challenges together. First, investment in startup industry is shrinking due to the global economic downturn, and the startup economic system is under threat. This is environment in order to create a sustainable environmental startup ecosystem. SK Innovation is strengthening the support in terms of social contribution and working hard to secure financial resources of continuous support through cooperation with various stakeholders, including the government. Second is the difficulty of the discovering startup due to the small number of environmental startups. SK Innovation is discovering environmental startups through the cooperation with the government and the venture capital, and is working to expand the startups nurturing pool by establishing by various new alliances. Recruitment for third ESG program will begin soon from the end of February, and we will try to get many startups as possible to apply through various promotion. Okay, but despite the challenges, SK Innovation set the expansion of startup ecosystem as a key task and actively support each. Expect the following. First of all, SK Innovation aim to grow together with various startup and stakeholders by creating ecosystem for environmental startup. And moreover, in order to solve the various environment problems, SK Innovation is working to expand its green portfolio, and we expect to create new businesses opportunities through the technology and idea of startups. Also, by fostering the environment startups, we expect to continue to carbon reduction through the resources conservation and renewable energy generation. So far, we have talked about SK Innovation's ESG strategies and execution system, details, test and cases. You probably have many additional questions, so please feel free to ask during the Q&A time. And for the details, SK Innovation's ESG strategies, please refer to 2021 ESG report and website. We ask for your support, and SK Innovation sincerely will effort for sustainable growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mansell. was very helpful to see the high-level ESG strategy to the execution level, such as a Green Startup Partnership Program. Also, it's very fascinating to see how you're partnering up with those eco startup and actually seeing the result as of now. I'm very excited to hear more. Thank you so much again. And
you.
next, we have a next speaker from Japan. Please welcome Takafumi Ikuta, Head of Social Value Office from Fujitsu Limited from Japan.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, so it's my great honor to have an opportunity to make a presentation at this webinar. Today, I wanted to talk about our ESG strategy and community activities, but I'm a little concerned about how many minutes I have. 10. Okay, thank you very much. So please, next, please. Okay, this is the next. Okay, so this is the basic information of our company. So I'm not sure how many of you know about our company, Fujitsu. Fujitsu is a global information technology company based in Japan. We provide business solutions that transform organizations and the world. Our information technology service business ranks top by market share in Japan and in the top 10 worldwide. Around 80% of our employees works in Asia Pacific region. Next, please. 3 years ago, that was 2020, we announced that our purpose is to make the world more sustainable by building trust in society through innovation. Now our purpose drives every action of every person at Fujitsu. So, of course, our ESG management is based on our purpose. In addition to financial key performance indicators regarding growth, earnings, and capabilities, we set non-financial key performance indicators regarding society, customers, employees, and culture. In order to promote our ESG management, we have established a framework called Global Responsible Business by classifying the 7 issue pillars. We believe when we can contribute to make the world more sustainable over the long term, we can create growth opportunities. Next, please. This figure shows our value creation model to achieve our purpose. We are committed to providing value to society driven by our purpose, starting with social trends. As shown in the red frame box at the center of this figure, our core activities consist of business aspect and the ESG management aspect. In terms of business aspect, our innovative solutions are called as Fujitsu Uvans that address business challenges and solve environmental and social issues. And the other aspect is, as mentioned before, Global Responsible Business, GRB, framework for ESG management. Among these 7 GRB issues, I would like to focus on our community activities. Next, please. So in terms of the community activities, we will build collaborative partnerships to engage and empower communities. We will contribute to the prosperity of the communities in which we work globally through collaboration with our business activities and encourage our employees to develop their skills, have confidence, and be proud to work with Fujitsu through giving back to society. So we have 5 key focus areas for these community activities. These are health and well-being, education, human rights and diversity, environment, and revitalization of local communities. These focus areas would also correspond to the Sustainable Development Goals 3, 4, 5, 10, 13, 2015. So next, please. So as a case of our purpose-driven community activities, I would like to introduce our strategic community investments fund. We are launching a strategic community investment funds to accelerate our community activities in the 5 focus areas as told in the previous slide. So we are inviting applications from employees of all regions for financial assistance to support specific efforts by NGOs, NPOs to resolve social issues that contribute to the realization of our purpose on a global company-wide level. So this is not a conventional donation activity based on a request from a partner, but aims to voluntarily support the activities as Fujitsu Group. This figure shows the results for 2 years from fiscal year 2021 to fiscal year 2022. In total, 29 organizations in 17 countries are funded. The total amount spent in this fund is so far 80 million Japanese yen, approximately 600,000 US dollars. So you may think this amount is small, but this is a very big step for us. So in this slide, so this is my final slide, but I didn't figure about success and challenges of this project, but I'd like to address something about this. So I would say main success is to attract employees for this project. We received more than 150 applicants for 2 years. They wanted to support NGOs or NPOs they were interested in. So I could say that this project brought employees opportunity to think about community activities and understand what kind of areas we think important as community activities. On the other hand, our challenges should be how to measure the outcome or impact through this fund. So this initiative just started 2 years ago. Now we are collecting impact reports from funded projects and are going to try to review their credibility. And as an additional information, also I didn't mention in this slide. So now we are planning an ESG venture capital fund that aims to create both financial impact and social impact. Hopefully, it would launch spring or early summer. So if I have next opportunity to speak with you, I'd like to show some progress about them. So anyway, our purpose-driven journey is still ongoing. I hope if this information could be of any use to you. Okay, so that's all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I think it was very interesting that you are really focusing on the community. And also, I did not know about the community fund in so many regions too. I think a large audience of this webinar and also lots of members of AVPN would be very interested in the details. And also, we are very excited to hear about your new ESG fund plan too. So I really hope there should be a next opportunity to discuss about that more. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. We are done with all the panel presentation. Now I would like to move on to the discussion, but now we have actually almost passed to the promised timeline. We would like to limit our present question to 2. I have 1 question for the first session and 1 question for the second session. So the first one, could you move that presentation, please? Thank you so much. So for the insight sharing, Joyce shared a lot about how and how she emphasized the systematic approach with involving a lot of stakeholders to solve the problem. So there was a question that they're curious about so far with the Porticus project, which type of stakeholder was the most challenging to engage, and how did you overcome that? I thought this question would be very helpful because I think different organization of this webinar would try to solve the similar question. So Joyce, would it be possible to answer this question?
Thank you for your question from the audience and Hannah for coordinating. This is a tough question, I have to say. Thinking about which stakeholders would be very difficult to engage. I would have to say that as Porticus Asia, we're thinking about Asia in scope. So we are thinking for East Asia, some companies are quite progressive. So in a way, engaging some progressive company and mobilizing the industry within their jurisdiction seems to be easier. But if you're talking about other localities in Asia, engaging business might still be quite difficult in that sense. So I guess is because we're looking Asia is so huge, the degree on engaging different stakeholders may vary. I might have to say is hard to answer, but I hope it will give you a sense on the challenge we have in Asia and how important it is for us to come together also as innovative companies in Northeast Asia, how we can also mobilize Asia, Southeast Asia, your partners in the region to work together, because essentially a lot of companies presenting today or even joining this organization, joining this session today, have their partners in Southeast Asia, for example. How to bring the whole ecosystem a level up through that is also something we ponder on. So I will pause here. I hope we could give you some insight on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it's one of those main topics that we've been thinking about it for a very long time, especially for the project that has to involve a different stakeholder from the different industries. So I think it would be great to have further discussion on here through different webinar or different opportunity. Thank you so much, Joyce. I would like to move on to the next question. As we are running out of time, I want to take one or two questions for the case sharing. First one, this is actually for the SK Innovation. So you mentioned that for the green startup project, partnership project, there are some challenges for first finding the startup within Korea, and second, because of the busy industry is shaking a little bit, it's hard to secure the fund as well. So in that case, do you have any plan to expand this project as, for example, SK Ag or something else to different region? And if yes, what would be the most important factor to choose those reasons?
Okay, thank you for asking me. Actually, SK Innovation has the corporate venture capital office investing in overseas startup, and is located in United States.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. However, SK Innovation's ESG strategy office is currently conducting ag programs which is I just introduced to you, focusing on Korea, because we want to actively nurture Korean startups, create startup ecosystem and grow Korea into a startup hub like US and like Silicon Valley and Israel's. In this regard, we are focusing on domestic market. Yep.
I see. Thank you so much for sharing. I personally did not know about this project in the US. I think there should be lots of interest in collaborating in different regions too. Thank you for your answer. For the last one, there was a question for Fujitsu that if you are using the method like as ROI, to measure your social impact about your ESG project? If yes, how was your experience so far?
Yes, simple answer would be no, because of course we argue. We have argued about the credibility of SROI measure. So
Right.
one issue is how to evaluate the social impact for with monetary base, so it's a little bit difficult in this time.
Right.
So, but yes, we are still thinking about which kind of measures are very useful for us. So I hope to have some ideas from AVPN networks. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your answer. I'm picking up so many different ideas for our next webinar because measurement has been mentioned multiple times during this time. So maybe next time we can share what are the main measurement methodology and how's experience or how we can even improve it for the long-term ESG project. Okay, thank you everyone. I think this is what we have prepared for today. It's been an absolute delight to spend an hour with you, and we explored a range of topics and trends regarding ESG and the corporate responsibility today. Some very important notice, AVPN is going to have our annual conference very upcoming. Please stay tuned for our global conference, which will be in KL, Malaysia. You can check our conference website for more information about the online access. And also, I have noticed that there are lots of interest in connecting to our AVPN member, especially our speakers today. So within AVPN network, we have a lots of members that you can pursue your project for your impact together. So please don't hesitate to reach out to your market representative. I just presented our market reps. You can reach out to Anna for South Asia, Masami for Japan, Lu Hei for Hong Kong, or Meryl for Taiwan. And also our market team is always here to help as well. Again, thank you so much all for joining us today. I really look forward to connecting with you again in the future. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.